my honor and my privilege to stand before you as the chair of this gathering. So today we are marking an beginning of the exciting journey as we embark on uh, series of webinar sessions focusing on personal branding. So I think in this fast-paced and competitive world, it has been an increasingly vital thing for undergraduates and all of us to understand about this art of personal branding. So as the StudPro 6.0 organizing committee, we thought of organizing something focusing on this personal branding topic. So we organized a series of webinar sessions. So today is the day one, and we are planning to focus on how to brand ourselves to compete with other applicants and how to maintain our LinkedIn profile. While our target audience comprises of computing and engineering undergraduates, we are wholeheartedly welcome anyone who are interested in this subject of personal branding. We believe that anyone, regardless of their field of study, can gain something from this event by learning how to market themselves effectively and how to make a lasting impression. So, before dive deep into the session, I would like to give a warm welcome to our guest speaker today, Mr. Aishan Bamunavita. So, we are honored to have you today with us, and we are eagerly waiting for the experience and the knowledge you are going to share with us. Furthermore, a special mention should goes to Mr. Dhammika Marasinghe, Mrs. Varnika Hippola, and all the YP EXCOM members for the support and the guidance they are giving us. And a special welcome should goes to our Mr. Kavin Aberatna, who is the chair of StudPro 5.0. Thank you for establishing such a strong foundation. So thank you very much for the guidance again. And last not the least, I would like to welcome all the participants who are today with us. So as the conclusion, I want to say that let's make most out of this virtual session, and we are planning day 2 and day 3 on 20th and 27th of this month. So it's on CV writing for the Sri Lankan jobs and overseas students. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nipuni. Your guidance and inspirations is always highly appreciated from our OC. So now we can move to our main event. I mean, the session of the session aligned with the LinkedIn, how to brand yourself and how to make your LinkedIn profile. So for that, I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce our esteemed guest speaker for tonight, Mr. Aishan Bhavanavita. Mr. Bhavanavita is a seasoned professional in the field of talent acquisition and human resources, specializing in building powerful tech teams with some of the most skillful and talented individuals in Sri Lanka. Let me go through more details about him. With a wealth of experience in sourcing talent for companies across Asia, I think Mr. Bhavanavita brings a unique perspective to art of team building and talent management. His expertise extends beyond the borders and he actively works towards expanding the talent base of 99x Technologies, connecting talented individuals from around the world. Not only that, Mr. Bamnavita's impact in the industry is truly remarkable. He has successfully connected over 500 engineers with fulfilling careers, utilizing his expertise in IT recruitment, IT staffing, talent acquisition, technical recruitment, talent sourcing, and consultancy. Through his work, he has not only matched individuals with great opportunities, but he has also helped them grow personally and believe their own potential. So, before the commence with our insightful session, I encourage all to you actively participate. Please ask questions and make the most of the expertise and knowledge shared by our guest speakers, as Ayodhya said. So tonight we have fortunate to our our very own young talented individual, Mr. Aishan Bhavanavita, here with us to share his insight, knowledge, and strategies on building powerful tech teams and enhancing the potential of LinkedIn for personal branding. Without further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Taisha and Bhavnavita to the spot. Taisha, out to you.
Right. So thank you so much, Tashini. Thank you so much for the introduction. I wasn't expecting
Okay, I
something
think
that
I'm
big, but
correct for that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nipuni. Thanks for having me as well. Before I do start off, I want to especially thank Damika Marasinghe, right? And also, I need to thank an engineer of ours. It's Savidu Bandar, who actually connected me with IEEE for this particular session today. So, without further ado, without wasting any more time, let me just try to share my screen. Just give me a second, please. I'm not the most competent when it comes to Zoom, so please bear with me. Let me
Okay.
just share my screen. Just let me know if you see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your
Yeah.
screen, Taisha.
Right. Just give a second, please. Right. Is my screen visible? Is it in full screen? Yeah.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yes.
All right. Sounds good. Right. So before we do start off, I had a small introduction about myself as well, but I think it's needless because Tashini did a very good job of, introducing myself. So altogether, just to give a very quick, reflection as to what I've been doing. So basically, I head the talent acquisition function for 99X Global, right? So prior to this, I was part of many companies where, we were sourcing for different, entry entities as well as different countries altogether. So even right now, it's just not in Sri Lanka. We hire globally, and there are a lot of things that we do with a lot of foreign entities altogether. So when it comes to my background, even though I'm doing an HR related job per se, I'm a finance graduate myself, right? So I did accounting and finance, and then life takes a different path, and here I am today doing what I do. So in terms of LinkedIn, why we are here today, right? So basically, when it comes to the base or my base with LinkedIn, basically I have around north of 21,500 followers, right? And we do a lot of interaction, help a lot of people. We have a lot of connections and chats with individuals as well. So that's my LinkedIn base, just for some reassurance as well. And as Tashini also said, having worked for the past few years, have connected more than 500 engineers altogether. And about some of my interests as well, I rather put it in pictures rather than words. So I just put in some pictures, just so everyone knows that it's a truth that I'm speaking up, right? So when it comes to me, in my free time, my latest found hobby or latest found love is going to the gym. I cycle, I go on holiday. I like to sing. I play badminton in a professional level, and also, I do a lot of comparing work to etc. So basically, that's a little bit about me, right? Awesome. Right, getting to the content itself, right? So I hope my first slide is all visible to all of you. Yeah, wonderful, great. Right, so introduction to LinkedIn, right? So before we start off about, what LinkedIn is, or, how we are going to rather properly calibrate the profile, right? I think it's essential to know what LinkedIn is in the first place, right? Because when I speak to a lot of undergraduates or graduates for that matter, right, many of them, come to me, we talk about LinkedIn, but they don't even know what LinkedIn is in the first place. So I think it's very much needed to give that insight, right? So LinkedIn, as you might know, right, was a company that was found in the late 2002, right? And then later it became public for, the public to use back in 2003, right? So for this, it marks 20 plus years, of LinkedIn having been in existence, right? So altogether, when the company started, there are five individuals who got together to come up or brainstorm of this idea, right? And now it's a public company, but then again, it was found with five people and later developed into a professional network, right? And then, as you might know as well, LinkedIn has gone through a variety of changes, a variety of differences, and structural reforms as well. And having said that, now LinkedIn has come up to 36 offices globally, right? So they have 36 offices physically all over the world, and they have about 21,000 employees working for them. So it's not a small company anymore; it's a large scale company that we are talking of. Right. And also because the English is not the primary language in most of the regions, right? It's available in 26 other languages, right? So maybe, if you're in different part of the world, if you're connecting from different part of the world today, right, the chances are that you might find LinkedIn in the native language belonging to that country, right? So just to give you some round off about,
how LinkedIn has matured to become what it is today. Right on your right hand side, you see the officially published document from LinkedIn. So just for all to know as well, I was in touch with the LinkedIn regional office the past few weeks where we had chats where we, physically met, and we have been doing a lot of things collaboratively. And on your right hand side, you see the official post published by LinkedIn as to what their roadmap has been. Right. So if the text is big enough, while I speak, you can definitely run past it. Right. I will just touch through the essentials which I've listed on the left side of the screen, right? So in 2003, it became a public portal for people to use. In 2004, it recorded 1 million registered users. So back in 2004, having that base is no joke, right? Because that's when, the population was not skyrocketing. It was high, but then again, it was not skyrocketing. They reached 1 million registered users. And 3 years after that, they introduced LinkedIn Jobs. So that's for companies like us to publish jobs and people to apply, right? And then in 2009, company feature pages became available. So that's where, we as a company, for example, if we as 99x want to publish more or less like an information page about 99x, we got that opportunity to do that back in 2009, right? And in 2011, this privately held company became a public limited company after the initial public offering or the IPO in the New York Stock Exchange, right? And it was the first company, right, when it comes to all these social media platforms to ever have done this, right? And in 2013, creators or authors or influencers for that matter, right, whichever you'd like to call it, right, they got the opportunity to write articles, post about things, your preferences and etc., so that they get more reach, as well as LinkedIn also gets more people joining the platform because of all this content, right? And then what happened was in 2016 there was a major acquisition done by Microsoft, right, where it resulted in acquisition of LinkedIn after spending 26.2 billion US dollars, right? If Sri Lanka had the money today, we would be in a greatly different place. But just think of the absolute money that Microsoft has spent on this. It's 26 billion US dollars that we are talking of, right? So that's the worth that Microsoft saw, and this is the worth that I want you to see in this platform today as well, right? And then in 2017, right, LinkedIn Learning was introduced. So we'll get to that in the later slides. And in 2020, when COVID started, they were at 700 million registered users. And in the next 3 years, as of last month, they have grown to 900 million registered users. So 200 million gap of registered users in a matter of 3 years, right? So this is what LinkedIn is. This is the journey of LinkedIn, right? And before I go to the next slide, in case you don't know what LinkedIn is about or you're unaware of it, feel free to type this URL. So you might see a URL on the screen. It's called www.linkedin.com, right? So you can just visit that while you are listening to this. All right, wonderful. Right. So LinkedIn, as you might know, right, or majority of the people know all over the world, is just the platform where you can go find a job, apply for a job, maintain your profile, to etc. But that is not the absolute product that LinkedIn has, right? LinkedIn has so many products, and what we see is just one product that we speak of on a daily basis. Right. So let me take you through this as well, just so that I give you the essentials and I give you the background before we come to this, right? Because even in any lecture, even in school, or even in college, they always give you the preset and then they take you to the subject, right? So I want to do the same for you all as well. So let me just run past the LinkedIn products very fast for you all, right? LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So this is one premium product which LinkedIn has, right? Where business development teams or sales teams, for that matter, can find customers, right? So for example, we being an IT company, which is into IT services, right? If we want to find other companies, right, who want services of our company, then a sales team can use Sales Navigator to find other companies who want these services and then provide to them, right? So basically, it's like a sales outreach platform altogether, right? So that's Sales Navigator for you, right? And then the second is talent insights, right? So basically now let's say we as 99x, so we did this, right? So we 99x is now in Malaysia. But before we went to Malaysia, right, we wanted to understand, how deep the water really is, right? Because in a true business sense, you always test the waters before you get into it, right? So you don't just go there, you aim for the best and throw all your stones, hoping that, something might hit, right? So what you essentially do is that you use software or platforms like this for that matter to understand what the market is like. So what we as 99x did was that we got these talent insights of the Malaysian market to understand how many people of the needed tech stack are available in this particular country. If that is the case, how old are they? Right. And are they willing to move jobs to, etc. So we get all those insights from this particular product called LinkedIn Talent Insights. Right. I hope I'm clear. Right. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. All right. Then number three, we have LinkedIn Recruiter. So this is where people like people in my team to etc. They use on a daily basis to reach out to individuals like you to inform about jobs, right, and tell them there's an opening and such, and then build that personal connection altogether, right? The LinkedIn Jobs is basically the marketplace for jobs where we as companies post our jobs, right, and then leave it out to in the public so that people could apply for it, right? The LinkedIn Business Manager is basically for marketing teams. Now, for example, let's say if 99x wants to promote their Aurudu event, right? Then what the marketing team could do is basically they can create all the content on LinkedIn, and then they can push content as they need using Business Manager. So it's like a one-stop place for marketing teams to manage their company pages. All right. And the LinkedIn pages is more or less like the landing page for each and every company. So 99x has a landing page, LinkedIn itself has a landing page, or everyone, anything has a landing page. So for example, even IEEE, right? For this particular event, I believe they have a landing page. So that is LinkedIn pages for all, right? And then LinkedIn Learning, lastly, is basically where you can access courses, right? And you could access different sort of exams to certifications so that you could complete them and get that accreditation that you have completed this and you are a certified person in this field, right? Is this clear thus far? Yeah, can I have some thumbs up? Is the thumbs up available here? I'm not so sure. Yeah. Okay. Right. I see some thumbs up. Okay. Great. So basically, these are all the LinkedIn products that's available, right? And then on your right hand side of the screen, let me just move this. Yes. So on the right hand of the screen, you see the employee lifecycle and how LinkedIn helps, right? So I'm just trying to build that journey for you so that you understand where the products come into being, right? So as I said, lead generation, right? I'll take 99x as an example. So in terms of lead generation, when we want to find sales, we use Sales Navigator. Then we want to plan whether we are going to a market or not, we use Talent Insights. When we want to hire a person, we use Recruiter to reach out to people. We use Jobs for people to reach out to us, right? And then you use Pages to promote 99x as a brand, right? Then after someone joins, right? Usually what we do is that we want them to continuously learn and we want them to continuously grow, right? So because of the purpose of that, we use LinkedIn Learning, right? So LinkedIn Learning is a one-stop shop for all courses. So I highly recommend that after this session, you also visit LinkedIn Learning. Just a matter of typing it on the Google search bar and go into it. Where be it anything, be it from Excel to coding to soft skills to managing people, you find absurd number of courses for everything. So you can visit LinkedIn Learning. Most of it is free, some are paid, but you can try the free ones at first, right? And then quite recently, LinkedIn acquired this company called Glint, right? So Glint was a standalone, experience software to understand employee experience and how they feel within a company. So now that's part of LinkedIn. So this is where, this particular software called Glint can be used to understand sentiments of people, just to understand, how people feel about working in a company. So if I was to roll this out to the entire of 99x, then without their names, I can perfectly understand what they feel about the pay, the working conditions, their managers, to etc. Right? So LinkedIn essentially helps employers build the entire life cycle of an employee. Right? So this is where LinkedIn is a truly tremendous product for all of us. Right? Everything is clear? All good? Everyone's happy? Yeah. Okay. Right. Good. So some stats before we come to the real material altogether, right? So I wanted to bring this to all of y'all as well, because these are not information you find firsthand on the internet, right? Because now these information, I managed to get in touch with the LinkedIn regional office, and they helped me out with this content as well. So altogether, these are things which I think you really should know. One is that out of all the 900 million users that we spoke of this year, at least a good 50%, close to 50%, log in once a month, right? So meaning that the other 50% never even comes once a month, right? So it's the two sides of the coin, right? And then the highest LinkedIn usage is in USA, number one, India number 2, Brazil, UK, and Canada. So these are the top 5 countries that's using LinkedIn right now, right? So Sri Lanka is not even in the list, just for all to know, right? We think that people look at it. So I went through, the top 40 countries. It was not even in the list, right? So this shows, how much we know about the platform and how more we should use it, right? And then these very interesting as well, just to understand the gender balance, etc., and how, even gender wise, how the platform is used. So we see that 57% of the users are men, whereas 43% are women, right? And the next insight is very crucial as well. We see that 60% of the users are between 25 to 35 years old, right? So the thing is, what the learning here is that most of young people like you and I call myself young, right? I am young. So the thing is, most of the people, our age are the people who actually use this platform altogether, right? So you see tremendous, gains for you as well. In case you use this, you can expect many people to reach out to you, right? Then the next stat is 77% of the users are outside the US. So we looked at that as well. And then the next thing is that 52 million people search for jobs each week, right? 52 million people worldwide. That's a lot of jobs, right? So what I want you to understand is not the amount of people that look for jobs, but to understand how many jobs are there for people to look at it in the first place, right? Tremendous amount of jobs. If you come to LinkedIn and you say you can't find a job for you, that's not true, right? Definitely there's something for you in that, right? And each second, LinkedIn collects 100 CVs each second that's uploaded to a LinkedIn job, right? Massive usage. And then about 8 to 10 people hired through LinkedIn each minute, right? So you see the potential that there is for you when you use this platform, right? And the other stat is very, very nice to see as well. This is something which, is not available off the hook. Basically, we see when we observe, candidates who switch jobs, usually they make the first contact with their new employee within the first 7 months, right? So let's say if I'm to go to a company called ABC, maybe I approached them 7 months before, right? And we had that first point of contact before I was later hired and offered a job at ABC 7 months down the line. So these are stats that's provided by LinkedIn, right? And then we also see that in January, usually people tend to switch jobs more than in October, right? So I would love to tell you why that happens, but that's not the whole purpose of this. So I'll skip to that, right? So, but then again, if you all are interested, you all can reach out to me and I can always help you out, right? So more people switch jobs in January than in any other month, right? And then the nice thing to know is that we as a company too, we try to always promote, gender balance. And here at LinkedIn, 42% of the leadership is actually women, right? Which is a very nice thing to see, because I think women empowerment is quite low in most of the countries, right? And seeing this is tremendous, right? Then we have about 295,000 teaching institutions enrolled as well. And then we see that LinkedIn Learning, the amount of people who learn through LinkedIn, right, is 1.8 times more in 2023 compared to 2020. So what I want you all to know is that, if you're seated here today, not being confident about how you speak, not confident to sit for an interview, right, not confident to write your CV, right, everything is available on LinkedIn Learning, right? So please go to LinkedIn Learning, search for it, learn it for free. That will perfectly give you the returns that you need, right? So 1.8 times more, so that's nearly 2 times. So you could also contribute to that, right? And then you see the amount of time each person has spent on LinkedIn Learning compared to 2020 and 2023. Sorry, there's a typo there, I believe. That's also 1.4 times more. Right. So did I bore you out with all the stats? Yeah. Some people are already falling asleep. No. All right. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if you're all asleep, but I hope you all are doing okay. Right. So we are finally getting to the core content. Right. So I was invited here today to show you how to do your LinkedIn profile. Right. So let's get started. Right. So here, before we go to the real life demo where I show how things are done, right, I want you to perfectly first understand as to what are the key components that's available in LinkedIn profile, right? So number one, you have the profile URL, right? So that's basically www.linkedin.com/ whatever you call it. So mine is /Aishan B, right? So that's called the profile URL. The headline is what you see here. I don't know if you see my cursor. That's below your name. You can put a headline. So that's what you see. Profile picture, cover picture, self-explanatory, feature content, activity, about, we'll get to that. Experience, your workplaces. Education, obviously the degree or the university that you're part of as of now. Licenses, certifications, let's say you have any AWS qualifications or Azure qualifications or anything technical or non-technical, you can list it there. Volunteering, all most of you all here IEEE volunteers, you can definitely put your experience there on LinkedIn, right? Skills, of course, the hardcore skills that you all have. Recommendation, the good word that you get from other people. Honors and awards, any particular awards that you get. Let's say in case you are to perform really well at your university, you get an award for what you did, so you can list that down. Languages, of course, English, Sinhala, Tamil, or whatever, be it any French, any language you want, you can put that in case you're fluent. And then of course interest, right? So the first things first is that I just want you all to understand that there are core sections and these are the core sections that you all have, right? All is clear? Yeah, good, wonderful. So I'm trying to switch my screen, so please bear with me in case I come upon a dead end. Do you all see my screen by chance? It's my LinkedIn profile now. No?
Yes, we can hear.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah, we can see you.
I have one of my team members sat here. I'm just trying to get to assistance as well. Okay, right, very good. Wonderful. Right, so as you might see, up top here, this is the profile URL, the one that I spoke of. So when it comes to you making your own LinkedIn account, it'll always give you an automatically generated, in simple terms, a weird profile URL, where it will say linkedin.com/ Aishan beef 25544 and something which is very weird, right? I'm sure you don't want to use that, right? First things first, go to LinkedIn, log in, and then click on me, right? And then click on view profile. Then you'll come about this landing page, right? Soon after that's done, go on to your right hand side, click on edit public profile and URL, right? And here on your right hand side, once again, you find this pencil where you can click on it and you can edit your personal profile URL. Is that clear? Yeah. So then you can customize it. Here we go. You can change it to whatever you want, right? So if I want to put 99x, right, I could do that. Or if I want to put something else, I can do that. So either way, it's going to be available, right? So that's a step number one. Clear? Yeah. Okay. Let me just go back to my profile. Right. Wonderful. Uh, right. Then, of course, you have the profile picture and then you have the cover picture, right? So when it comes to the profile picture and the cover picture, please use profile pictures that are very decent and acceptable in a corporate setting, right? So if it's a picture of you seated somewhere in a mountain, right? If not, you're seated at a party with few of your friends, right? If not, you're having a gala time somewhere and it's a weird picture altogether or a selfie. Please don't put that, right? Ensure it's a professional picture that you could use in a corporate setting where you look acceptable, and you look very decent in that picture. So that's number one. Then number two, when it comes to the cover picture, this is what you see. I hope you see my cursor, right? So I'm just rounding off the 99x banner, right? So there, because I'm from 99x, I put the 99x banner because we officially have that published as a what you call brand guideline, right? But in case you are an individual who's seeking for a job right now, please don't put any family pictures or pictures of you with 20 other people, right? Holding hands or anything as such, right? That's not something we want to see. So what we encourage is that you click on the picture once again, right? And then you can get a stock picture of the internet, right? If not, you'll find out that once you tweak with all these settings, you can see that there are some stock images available on LinkedIn as well. So up until you get something professional, just please hold on to it, right? Don't try to overly do this what do you call uh, sorry, profile altogether, because this is not Facebook, this is not LinkedIn, sorry, these not Facebook or this is not Instagram for that matter, right? So you have to ensure that this is clean and this has a good track record for you. Then of course you have your name, and here you have your headline. So the usual practice in South East Asian countries is that they usually put the designation, right? I think you see few of my team members as well on the right hand side where they have their designation. So usually what happens is that this is not the best practice that's put forward by LinkedIn. right? If you look at the LinkedIn, documentation, it's where they say, you need to put something catchy, right? That also gives an insight as to what you do, right? So for me, I have put here lead in talent acquisition 99x, right? But whereas, prior to this, I had something called building tech teams at 99x, right? So it shouldn't ideally be your designation, right? You can put something else where, it's catchy, but it also relates to, your you and what you do in an organization. Is that clear? Yeah, sounds good. Wonderful. Then, of course, you can click on contact info. Once again, here you can edit it, right? So you can put any company email addresses if you have your email address, right, as well, right? And then you can put any other things that's applicable. Here you also have an option to put your phone number, right? I wouldn't personally encourage that because, I'm very sure you don't want, strangers messaging you, right, on, WhatsApp or SMS to etc. So I personally would encourage you not to put your mobile phone number, but in case you want to do, the option is there, right? You can do that. But for me, in case someone wants to connect with me, I have just provided my email address, right? And that to my company email address so that they can get in touch with me, right? So you can tweak this. Once again, it's a pencil icon. Just know on LinkedIn, it's a pencil icon that edits everything for you, right? So click on the pencil icon and you'll be sorted, right? And then scrolling down, this is the featured section, right? This is where if you have done something significant, you can actually pin that so that anyone, as soon as they come on to your LinkedIn profile, that's the first thing they'll see, right? So once again, here, you can click on, the plus icon. You can add a post, a newsletter, article, link, media, or whatever it is, right? So this will be your featured section, which will always remain in the top, regardless of what you put, right? Here, of course, is your activity section, right? So activity section, when you start, posting different sorts of content, right? Let's say you write posts, you put a picture, you put a video of anything, right? That's where you can follow that through in the activity section, right? So for me, these are some of the recent things I did, right, in terms of posting. So just yesterday, I posted this session. So that's what you see here up top. And then you see another post that I put. So all your activity will be recorded here, right? So I hope I'm clear so far, right? Just for all to understand what the LinkedIn profile is like. Wonderful. So once again, in terms of content, please don't put videos of you singing or don't put videos of you dancing or anything as such. Ensure that this is only used to put professional content that's directly related to what you want to do and what you do in an organization. All right, good. Then the about section, very important, right? Here, this should mainly be a brief, right, of what you are, right, what you like to do, right, and what your key achievements are, right. So basically now, if you look at all this, right, you see what I have done, right, what I do, what my achievements have been, right, and also you see some of my interests that I've just put down here, right. So this is more or less like a snapshot for people to come and understand, right, as to what you are as a person, right. So I think these more or less like a synopsis in simple English, right? Am I clear? Yeah. So you can write about yourself, just a few words, just to explain who you are, right? And if and when you start a job, right, mention your key expertise here, right? Because when you key in your key, what do you call key skills here in this about section, this too will be picked up by the LinkedIn recruiter software that we as companies use to find people, right? So I hope I had some time to show you that as well. But then again, as I showed you in the first slides, there's a product called LinkedIn Recruiter where we put in keywords and look for people on LinkedIn, right? So those keywords are taken from places like the about section, right? So that's why it's very necessary for you to include your key areas of expertise, right? Be it human resources. Now for me, it's human resource, IT recruitment, staffing, to etc. But for you, if you're a .NET engineer, it could be .NET, and if you're doing cloud, it can be Azure and AWS or whatever it is. Just mention what you do best and put those as skills. Yeah, wonderful. Right, then we come to experiences, of course, right? So this is where any past workplaces, the place you work right now, everything is listed in a chronological order, right? So here you see where I work right now, right, what I do in terms of designation, and I also given a small brief about my history or my run during that particular time I've held that designation altogether, right? And to make things interesting, you can always add media. So I have added some photos, right? So which you can click and then you can see, several places we've been to, things we have done, so that, your LinkedIn profile becomes more engaging for viewers to come and look at, right? So I have added many more medias there, right? Then your promotions, etc., can be documented, and you see how simple it is and how clean it is when it comes to a LinkedIn profile. So as soon as you go into my profile, you see I have worked at 99x. So my stint at 99x has been 2 years and 6 months, so that's 2.5 years, right? And then apart from that, you can see what my designations held were, right? What I'm doing right now, what my previous designation was, right? And also you see, my past achievements, and also a little brief about what I do, right? So I've done the same for all the companies that I've worked for in the past, right? So here what you could do is that, let me just show you as well. So in case you want to add some experience, once again, it's the pencil and the plus mark that makes wonders on LinkedIn, right? If you want to edit something which you have already put, click the edit section. If not, you can click on the plus, right? And then you can click on add position. So here you can put the title, the employment type, whether it's contract, full-time, or whatever it is, and the company name. So for example, if I'm working at Microsoft, I can put Microsoft, right? And there we go. And then you click on it, then Microsoft gets tagged. Then location, of course, where you work. For me, it's Sri Lanka. But if you're working remotely or something as such, you can put, USA. Let's say you work for the United States. There we go. And then location type, right? Now, the thing is with this whole, COVID pandemic, right? There are differences that came about where, you don't just work for a company that's in another country by being in that country, right? So basically, you can work for a US company while being seated here in Sri Lanka. So if I say that I'm working for Microsoft USA, but still I'm in Sri Lanka, then it should be remote because I'm seated here in Sri Lanka, right? My office is in America, right? But let's say if I'm there in America itself working for Microsoft, then it should be on site, right? So that's the meaning of on site. And then hybrid is when, you move back and forth. Sometimes you go, sometimes you stay in Sri Lanka, to etc. Yeah, got it? Clear? Right, wonderful. Then you can put in the start day, the start month, and the industry, and a small description, right? And then add any skills to etc. It's self-explanatory. It's nothing. It's not rocket science. It's very simple for you to figure out, right? So I hope now you know how to add some sort of experience, right? Just give me a second. Right, wonderful. Then you come to the education section, right? So this is where you need to add in your education, right? You can add in the school you went to, what degree you did, what sort of achievements you got to, etc., right? So for me, where I schooled, what university I went to, what was my grade, what was my result, etc., so that any employer, right, coming into your LinkedIn profile could purely understand you know what your background is. So then they have a comprehensive understanding about you from the summary, gets to understand where you work and etc. from the work experience that's shown, and then they also get an understanding about your education through these education sections, what degrees you have done, MScs you have done, professional qualifications you have done, to school you have gone to, etc. List it all so that you give them a very good understanding. Yeah, clear? Right. Then, of course, you come to licenses and certifications. So this is very important, right? I told you all about LinkedIn Learning, right? So all these certifications you see in my profile right now on your screen, rather, are all certifications that I got from LinkedIn, right? So how you do that is basically, I'll show you how to go to LinkedIn Learning, right? So basically, you click on this. Just give me a second. Let me just move this, right? So next to your me icon, right, on LinkedIn, there's another 9 squares that you find, right? So click on it, and then you find something called learning, right? So when you click on learning, you should be able to go to the learning section of LinkedIn, and then you can do courses. So I've done courses, I've completed them, and I have got the certifications which you see in my profile right now. So it's a long list. So I made good use of the pandemic days, right? So most of it was done in 2020, right? Wonderful. So you can do that. And then volunteering, right? So this shows what you have done in terms of volunteering work, right? Once again, if you have to edit something which you have added, you can click on edit. If you want to add something new, just click on the plus and you can add in the organization, what you did, and etc. Right? So here we go. They show an example. Organization Red Cross Role Fundraising Volunteer. Yeah. So if you're part of IEEE as a volunteer, you can add that in. If you're part of the Leo Club, you can add that in. If you're part of Rotaract, you can add that in. Right? Be it anything, you can add that in as long as applicable. One thing, guys, one thing, right? Just add true information, right? If you're never part of Rotaract, don't add Rotaract, right? And if you're never part of the Leo Club, don't do that, right? So ensure that you maintain integrity in what you do, right? So it needs to be truthful. Don't fake it for people, right? Because this is definitely something which we as companies take a look at very seriously, right? So don't try to put fake information, because we verify all this during the interview and after the interview as well through the background verification process, right? So once again, right, be very genuine. Ensure that you put information that is true and applicable to you, not applicable to your friend, right? Just because your friend did drop track doesn't mean you did that, right? All right, wonderful. Nice. So we come to the skill section where you need to add applicable skills, right? So for me, I have put in the skills that's most applicable to me, right? So here you see a technical recruitment, global talent acquisition, to IT recruitment, human resources, etc. Right. So I have added in all the skills that's directly applicable to me, right? But as I understand, it might not be, where it's not where a glove one size fits all, right? So it might differ from person to person. So if you're from the IT industry, then once again, feel free to add something which is relevant for you all. So if you know .NET, for example, let's say you go to plus and then you click, and here, let's say PHP for the matter. Let's say you put PHP, there you go. You say that you're very good at PHP, right? So then you have added that. And then they ask you a bit of questions, where was this experience, where what education you had done, etc. when you got this, etc. So you can add all those skills in, right? Clear? So you can add PHP. If not, you can even add different things. Let's say you're good at Excel. There we go, Microsoft Excel, right? Let's say you're good at public speaking, right? That should also be here. There we go, that's a skill, right? Let's say you're good at probably maintain relationships with people, right? So let's say public relations, there we go, right? Any skill under the sun, most of them for that matter, is covered here in this list, right? So just sit down, think of what you're good at, what your skills are. So when you're an undergraduate, you might not have any hardcore skills for you to include, like PHP, Azure, AWS, or anything if it's that technical. Or if you're from a HR background, let's say if you're working with an ATS or any etc., you might not have those hardcore skills to include. But up until that point, feel free to add other things which you are comfortable with. Let's say public speaking could be one, right? Then let's say if you're volunteering, there we go, volunteering, volunteer management, etc. So add all those things in so that it's more relevant for recruiters like us to see. Yeah, cool. Right. I hope no one's asleep. I see that there are 115 people. I hope at least 10 are awake. Right. So, right. So moving on to the next, right? So let me just rush through as well, because I think we have some ground to complete. Recommendation, once again, it's a good word that you get from other people. You can always, toot your own horn and tell you're the best at doing something, right? But that's not solid until someone tells the same about you. That's how you replicate that you have done a good job. So if you have done good work, get people who are well known in the industry, who are known figures, or even people for that matter, to write generally good comments about you and what you do in your job, right? Now, for example, I believe you'll be meeting Niresh on the 20th for another session, right, for CV writing. So Niresh and I work together. So Niresh has put a good word about me on LinkedIn, saying that this is what his experience was when we were working together, right? So get people to write about you, but then again, please refrain from asking your friends to write good words about you, right? Don't tell your friend, look here, I'm your best friend, you need to write me a good recommendation, you write me one, I write you one. That should not be the practice, right? Get people who are well known, who have that backing, to write genuine comments about you, right? It's not a journal where a friend writes to a friend and that reciprocates from one to another. Yeah. All right. Then honors and awards, once again, we spoke about this. Any awards you have, once again, click on the plus, include that, and you're sorted, right? And then languages, right? What languages, So for me, it's English and Singular. Unfortunately, I don't know Spanish, I don't know French, I don't know anything. So if you're reaching out to me even on LinkedIn, speak to me in either English or Sinhala, right? Don't speak to me in anything else, which I wouldn't know to reply to, right? So that's that. And then interest, of course, companies that you like, companies that you've followed, newsletters that you've followed, everything will just show up in this section, right? Is that clear? Yeah. Any questions? Nipuni and Tashini, we take these questions after the session. Is that right?
Yes, yes, we have separate time for the
Okay.
Q&A.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Right, guys. So that's about LinkedIn, right? So I think there are a few more ground to cover. Just one or two. Yeah, just one more slide, I believe. So please bear with me, right? Great. So I hope now you know what LinkedIn is, what the company is like, what their essence is, and where they come from. And now you know how to build a profile on LinkedIn, right? Then the other requirement I believe your organizers also had was for me to speak about personal branding and what it is like, right? So I've done a one slider just for everyone to understand what personal branding is all about, right? So before we start, we need to understand what a personal brand is. So how many of you all know what a personal brand is? Can I once again have some thumbs up? That's available. Yeah, I saw some thumbs up before. You all know what a personal brand is? No? Yeah. Let me just browse through to see if yeah, I see some thumbs up. All right, good, good. A few of you all know. That's very good. Right. So a personal brand is where you consciously make decisions about you, right? So that a particular image is formed in the external environment about who you are and what you are, in simple sense, right? So if I was to read out the words that I wrote, consciously crafting and molding an image about yourself that you believe people would perceive in both the professional and personal context, right? So it's where you build yourself as a brand where you are looked up to. Now, for example, you take Apple, right? Apple Incorporated is known for being a tech giant who does really well in their mobile phones and other electronic devices. So we look up to it. That's because they did actions that resulted in them molding to for them to be looked up in that particular way, right? So that is what a personal brand is. Clear, right? Then we have the key components of a personal brand: authenticity, right? Number one, you need to be very genuine in what you try to brand, right? If I'm trying to build a personal brand, and I do that right now on LinkedIn, where I write articles once a month, once in about once in 2 weeks, etc. The momentum is different, but then again I do that. But I write about people and how people should be treated, and how teams should be managed, and it's more or less towards thought leadership. And why I write about that is because I genuinely care for how people are treated in an organization, right? Now, for example, let's say you genuinely don't care about animals. Let's say you're that type, right? And if you're to go and write on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever it is about how much you care for animals, people would definitely feel if you're not authentic about what you're trying to put forward, right? So be true to yourself, understand what you really want people to believe, and then write on that. Right? So that's key component number one. Number two, consistency. At least bi-weekly, or at least once a month, or whatever the frequency you like, keep putting out content so that people will keep following you, right? Be consistent. So for example, don't put one post today and the next one in another 5 years and then assume that people will follow you because of the personal brand that you've built, right? Be consistent. Number three, you should always be good at storytelling, right? So once again, if you go to my LinkedIn, you might see that certain things that I've written about, I don't explicitly just write it. I just put it in a form of a story and tell people, why I believe that people should look into this, right? So storytelling is the best skill to have in 2023. Mark my words, it's the best thing to have, right? I've spoken to several leaders as well. Even if you have ideas, even if you're the most brainiest person, if you can't put your thoughts into words and get that flow right about how or what you're trying to say, you have failed, right? So storytelling is very important for you to build that picture for people, right? Now let me come to an example, right? This morning I read on the news, this was on a platform where one person has explicitly written about how Taylor Swift writes her songs. She paints a picture for everyone, right? At the end of it all, when you stop listening to that song, you have gone through entire story of how she wants you to feel. So that's storytelling for you. All right. Then number four, expertise, right? if I'm going to talk about recruitment, I need to know recruitment, right? And today I'm not here to speak to you about any, hardcore technical skill or, let's say a programming language or whatever it is, because I'm not the most competent. You should know what you're trying to teach people, right? So expertise is very needed. Visibility, of course, right, is about, how visible you make yourself to people. So for me, the only platform that I've chosen to write is on LinkedIn, because I personally think that Facebook, Instagram, etc. is not the place for you to put your thoughts into words, because people are there for pictures and videos more than anything else. Right? So visibility, you need to understand where you're going to be visible. Then value proposition, this is very important, ladies and gentlemen. So this is where what you give in exchange, right? Now, for example, if I'm to write an article about something I'm really passionate about, what you need to understand is that the person who's reading it is giving their time, right? When they give their time, to read what you have written, you need to give them something back as well at the end of the article. If they read it and they understand that you have just bluffed and there's no conclusion, they have learned nothing, you have failed in your branding, right? You need to give something back for the time they spent. So that's what we call as value proposition, the value exchange. All right. And lastly, the connections that you build, right? So you need to have connections with people. So for example, let's say if you want to be a movie star, right, you need to have more connections or build connections with movie stars, right? Because you being a movie star and trying to probably connect with a HR leader in the industry makes absolute no sense, right? You need to be directly linked to what you want. If you want to be a famous dancer, you need to link up with other dancers. Now this is what you see. Now if you go on TikTok, right, all these TikTok stars, they are friends with each other, right? So that's how they build their connections. So for a person like that, having a connection with me or someone as such in a completely different industry makes no sense, right? So this is what you need to understand. Components, and I hope you'll understand. Yeah. Any questions? Feel free to write them down. I can come to your questions. Right. Then steps in building a personal brand. Last bit, I promise. Right. So sorry if I'm taking too much time of your calendar. Right. Either way. So when it comes to building a brand, first identify what you're good at. Right now, for me, I have always been good in talking to people, doing speeches, and writing. So those three I have generally been good at. So I identified what I'm good at. But then again, I'm not the person to claim myself as the best dancer or the best movie producer or whatever it is. So I'm not going to even step in there. So one is self-reflection, understand what you're good at, right? And then set realistic goals. Number two, don't aspire where you open up a LinkedIn profile, you want to be a LinkedIn person or public figure. Don't expect your followers to go up to 20,000 the very next day. Be realistic in what you want to achieve, right? So I'm sure you all have learned the SMART objectives. Yeah, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, right? So basically you need to ensure that the goals you and that is truly achievable, right? Then aim and center approach towards a set demographic. Now when I'm writing about what I'm passionate about, right, I aim my content towards individuals who are similar to my age, right, and who are actively working in companies. I'm not writing to people from the category of where my parents belong, right? I have selected that demographic where I have understood that I need to write for the people who are actively in the job market right now, right? Select your demographic, right? Now, if you are to make baby soap, you should not go and advertise your baby soap in the cinema, right? Makes no sense, right? So you need to always pick your demographic the right way. So demographic is a set of people that you wish to push your content to. All right. Then choose platforms wisely, right? Now, that's also another thing. For example, if I'm to, push my content on LinkedIn, I need to ensure that my other platforms are clean, even though I don't push content. Now, for example, I write a lot on LinkedIn, but I don't write anything on Facebook or Instagram. But that doesn't mean that I go and post controversial things against the country or the, company or etc. I don't do that, right? Please don't do that. You really, really need to ensure that you maintain consistency in your profiles as well, right? Because if you try to build a brand on LinkedIn and you do the complete opposite where you scold another person on Facebook and you call people different names and etc., no one is going to believe you or no one is going to have that trust in you, right? So you really, really need to ensure that you use all your platforms wisely. Internet has two sides, right? It could be a blessing or it could be the worst thing. It's up to you to choose how you make use of it. All right. Then maintain uniformity in the message you wish to convey. Like as I said, if you're, let's say, if you're trying to speak about, singing, or let's say you're trying to talk about songs and chords and etc., you're passionate about music, don't all of a sudden go and talk about cartoons, right? You need to be consistent in what you're trying to deliver, right? If you're a musician, write about music, sorry, right? Write about music and anything related to that. Don't write about technology. Don't go haywire about, different topics and what you want to do, right? Ensure that there's consistency. And then also, as I said, produce content that is meaningful. I think we spoke about this in the value exchange, right? Ensure that you give them something back for the time they spend in either watching something or liking something in your, if something you've written, or giving the time to read the article you have written down, right? Always build a roadmap of content as well, right? Now, write something today with also having in mind what you're going to write tomorrow, right? Don't just write today because you have just written that and call it off, and think about what you're going to write next the very following day. Always have a pipeline of content that you're going to always put forward, right? So that it's consistent and you don't have to break your head over what you're going to put next, right? Then, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, good vocabulary and language is important, right? I believe now Sinhala is the first language in Sri Lanka, but English is the language that helps to take you to the world, right? Because that's a universal language. Like it or not, it's a universal language that's widely accepted all around the world. So if you want your, follower base from other countries to come and look at your profile, learn English well and also learn good vocabulary, right? Because then foreign audience too can engage with you. It's just not going to be the local people altogether. All right. Then connect with groups and individuals that directly link to your purpose. So this I think we spoke about as well. People relevant to what you do and what you want to be, connect with them. Receive feedback, right? Sometimes I've seen, right, even for posts I write, right? Now, quite recently, I wrote about this post where, I met with several heads of LinkedIn regional office where they came to Sri Lanka and we had this conversation. And there was this one specific head of HR of a company who wrote to me and told me that LinkedIn, is drawing out money from people to et cetera, et cetera. And then it's a huge paragraph, right? But I didn't go to react to it, right? That's because you should always know that not everyone will accept content that you'll put forward, right? But you should be the wiser person or be the bigger person in a situation like such, right? And accept that not everyone thinks the same, right? It's okay to have outliers. Don't go to fight them, right? If someone puts a comment, don't go to scold them or use any sort of words you shouldn't be using, because that will completely ruin your image once again. If you build something and one small comment is enough to wipe you off the shelf, right? So ensure that you use your brains when you reply to something. And then obviously keep learning. The more you learn, the more you could write, the more you could tell about people, right? Tell to people, sorry, right? To all that. So keep learning, be it anything. If you're in the IT industry, do that. If you're in the music business, learn about music. There's so much to learn. Even for me, in talent acquisition, it's not the end of the road. There's so many things that I learn each day, about different markets and etc. Keep learning so that you have stuff to tell people. All right. Then keep looking for opportunities, right, to build your personal brand, like I'm here today. Right? So I'm here today to speak to you, right? And these are opportunities where you get to build your personal brand. you know Take part in sessions like this, interviews, guest lectures, talk to people, create that meaningful link with people so that those opportunities give you the best rate, right? And lastly, building a network takes time, right? Don't expect your followers to go up to thousands the very next day. Be patient. One by one, things will come about. So for me, I started my LinkedIn profile back in 2018, May, right? And then since then, now come close to 22,000, right? It was no easy journey, It's not easy, to link up with people, add people, get to know people, but things take time. Good things take time, right? So be patient and things will come to you. All right. So that's everything from my end as well. So special mention, I think, to LinkedIn as well. So for providing input for today's content, right? They helped a lot as well in bringing together content and, helping bring this information to you. So just want to specially mention LinkedIn as well. Right. So Tashin and Nipuni, over to you. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, you could go
Yes.
about with the agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Ishan, that was really insightful session. That's, I think, in my profile, I think I have to do many edits. I have to do it today because I got so many knowledge and I got some practice we have to do, and the wrong practices uh, I already have in my account. So actually, Aishan, I'm really happy to, and I'm really
No
honored
problem.
to meet you today. And
Pleasure.
for now, we have to start our Q&A session. Up to
Okay,
now, you guys have any questions? You can see our Slido link in chat box. Instead of that, you can put your questions directly in our chat box. For throughout the session, so we gathered some questions, Aisha. So one by one, I will
sure.
answer them for you.
Yeah, sounds good.
So the first question that I got is
Hmm.
how can I optimize my LinkedIn profile for better visibility in search results?
Okay, right. You all hear me, right? I'm
Oh
still
yeah,
live,
yeah.
right? Okay, wonderful. So basically, how you could do that is through those keywords that I mentioned. So in your about section where you write your summary, include, skills that you're really good at. And in the skills section, just pinpoint two specific skills you're really good at so that, you include that in your profile. And for us, we use something called LinkedIn Recruiter where we just put the skills that we require as well. So if the skill we put and the skill that is available in your LinkedIn profile matches, then you appear as a search result. So it's always about, putting your skills at the right places and putting the skills you're really good at. So two places, once again, the about section and the skills section.
Oh, thank you. So the second question, can I know if these LinkedIn learning courses are free of charge? I think it's some of are
Yes,
free and
yes, it's 50-50. So
yeah.
some you can do it for free, some you'll have to pay. But as far as I'm aware, the first month is a trial month. That's absolutely free. So please make use of it. I think you can do a lot as well, right? And while just to add in as well, let me just drop a few links. I think
Yeah,
right.
it's
Right. So I'm
better.
sending several links to everyone.
Hmm?
So this gives insight about each and every product that we spoke of. So these are, demo videos that's done by LinkedIn itself. So I can send that across to you. So you can even learn more about, LinkedIn learning, and how things work. There we go. I sent it to everyone. I hope you all got it.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
Tasha.
you.
No problem.
All right, the third question, can you please show how to find a LinkedIn learning course again? I think, can you?
Yeah, absolutely, Tashini. That's available in the video link I just sent. So if you
All
were to
right,
go onto those links and then you click
do.
on the LinkedIn Learning URL, you can definitely see how it's done.
So the fourth question, Aishan, is that a free 6 month premium validation? Is that already have or is that disabled from the LinkedIn?
Sorry,
I
I didn't
mean,
quite catch you.
yeah, how can I get the free 6 month LinkedIn premium account? Is that available now?
Yes, it's not 6 months, it's just 1 month now. It's not 6 months,
Just
right?
1 month.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a 1 month trial where when you activate your LinkedIn premium account, basically you'll be part of more search results, you'll get access to LinkedIn Learning, etc. But that will be only be set for a period of 1 month, not 6 months.
So how about the lifetime premium versions? That
Right. Yes. The thing is that you can't take it on a lifetime basis. Basically, it's a yearly subscription that you could take. So there are two
okay.
forms you could take. Either you can pay it upfront for the entire year. If not, you can pay it monthly. But the thing is, you'll have to go to the particular section and you'll have to enter your credit card. So they'll
Alright.
bill you through the credit card. I think several months back there was this issue where banks have blocked, foreign payments. So because of that, people couldn't make their payments. But now I believe it's open, so you could do that. So you can activate it for a yearly basis. But then again, one in two ways: either you pay for the entire year upfront, if not you pay for it every month.
Okay, Aishan, this question from my side actually. So how can I get that recommendation part in our profile? That what is the uh,
Right.
procedure, that formal procedure?
Right.
Can I ask for someone to take someone to
Yes.
write for me or
Yes.
how that
Do
happens?
you want me to show that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Right, just give me a second, please. Can I share my screen once again? Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Right. I hope you all could see my screen once again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So once again, you scroll down to the recommendation section and then you click on the
Yeah.
plus. Then you
Okay.
can either give a recommendation for someone or you can ask for a recommendation. So for
Cool.
example, let's say if I want to give a recommendation, do you all see my pop-up as well now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's say I want to give a recommendation to someone from my team, right? So let's say it's Crystal. If that is the case, I can say that I want to give a recommendation to her, and then I click on continue. And then I can write what sort of relationship is there. So whether she's part of my team, whether she's part of another team, to etc. You find different versions of it. So you can click on one. Then you can click the position where she was at when we had this occurrence, right? So that you could place, and then you can write the recommendation and send. Clear? So that's if you're
Yes.
giving it to someone. If not, if you're going to ask for a recommendation, you can click on that. I'll take the same example. So I can ask Crystal to write me one. There we go. So click on that, continue, and then you do the same, and then you put a customized message saying, hi, so and so, would you write me a recommendation, please? So these are
It's
preset message. You can change that.
all right. That's quite new to me, and I'm eagerly waiting for that.
No
All
problem.
right. Okay, Stanishan, that's I think Nipuni, is there any questions from your side?
Uh,
All right.
Not at the moment. Yeah,
All right.
I'm all good.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Ishan. So I think I don't have any words to how you how can I thank you for the
No,
moment.
it's
That's
okay.
actually hits our heart touching, and it really went smooth. And this is the very we took a very clear and very insightful initiate for the every I mean the series of branding yourself. You take a good start, Miss Aishan. So thanks you once again. So we extend our share appreciation for your willingness to share your experience, expertise, and insight, which will undoubtedly have a lasting impact at all of us. So, on behalf of the entire audience, the organizing team, we express our deepest gratitude for the taking the time to part B of this event. So,
Right.
please accept our virtual token of
Absolutely.
appreciation for the
Thank you
time
so
you have
much.
dedicated for us.
Right.
So
Thank you.
now we are moved to wrap up our session. So I invite the Vice Chairperson of STEDPRO 6.0 project, Mr. Ravindu RHCA, to deliver the word of thank.
Yeah, hi guys. I hope I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, Ravindu, you can go ahead.
Yes, I think we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, but can you guys see me? I seem to have some issues with my camera right now.
No, we can't see you, Ravindu.
Okay, hold on. Give me a moment. Okay, okay. Yeah. I think you guys can see me now. Okay, so all right then. A very good evening to everyone gathered here with us today. So on behalf of the organizing committee of StudPro 6.0, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone who made today's session on personal branding a great success. Firstly, a very special thank you to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Aishan Bhavnavita, for sharing your valuable insights and expertise on personal branding. Your presentation has certainly inspired us all and provided us with practical knowledge that we can apply to our professional journeys. I would also like to express our gratitude to the IEEE Young Professionals Sri Lanka XCOM, the past chair of StudPro 5.0, Mr. Kavin Abhiratne, and his organizing committee for their unwavering support and dedication. Their contributions have been instrumental in creating this event as impactful as we can have. So a big thank you also goes out to my own planning and executing this session. Your hard work and attention to detail have made it a truly enriching experience to all our participants. And finally, I must extend my sincere appreciation to all the participants for their active engagement and enthusiasm. Your presence has made this event and this session interactive and much more meaningful. And we hope to see you guys again in our upcoming sessions as we continue to explore the world of personal branding. So before we conclude, we are excited to announce that our next session featuring the renowned speaker, Mr. Niresh Samarnayaka, will take place on the 20th of May. And we encourage all of you to join us further and enhance your personal branding and professional skills. So thank you once again to everyone involved, and we look forward to continued learning and growth together. Thank you, and over to you, Dashini.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you so much. So, guys, it's time to take the group photo for now. I invite you all to turn on the video, and on my count, we can take the picture. So you have 30 seconds to turn on your camera. Okay. So guys, come on, we have limited time for this. I invite you all to again to turn on camera and take our picture. Think we have enough time. Right. Says the marker is ready on my count. Say
Yes.
cheese.
Okay, everyone say cheese. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, hold.
Thank you, Dimanka, and thank you all of you once again, and thank you once again, Mr. Ishan. We hopefully and we think all your future endeavors will be successful. We have the all the organizing committee on State Pro 6.0. And also, I would like to thank the Executive Committee of Young Professionals Sri Lanka Chapter Executive Members and the past committee members of StreetPro 5.0 Executive Committee members and all the participants who are gathered with today and all the organizing committee members who are dedicated to this event is successfully concluded. So there are more to go. So in I think 20th of May, we have another our second in our agenda. Our second event will be organized. So I invite you all to participate that event too. For that, until that, so we are going to wrap up our session. So have a good day. Good night. Bye bye.
Bye.